Hey guys, it's me, Kaycee Stroh, and I am excited to answer some questions for you today. Well, I actually grew up in the dance studio. My mom took on a part-time job as a secretary at a dance studio to help pay for my two older sisters' classes. So I remember even as a baby, I remember taking a nap on the floor and listening to all the rhythms and the sounds of the tap shoes. And so I think it was really just bred into me. And by the age of 5, I told my family, my parents, oh, I want to be a famous triple threat. And thank goodness they just didn't discourage me. The casting process for High School Musical was very different. First of all, I had been teaching dance. I was 19 years old, and I took my students, who were like 14 to 16 years old, to the audition because I heard about it, and it was like an untitled Disney project, wasn't a big deal, and they just said they needed background dancers of all shapes and sizes and colors, and I thought, great, I'll take my students. But I had been working my whole life and acting and singing and dancing. I thought, I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna try out myself. And it was one of the longest dance auditions I've ever done. I really think it was like a minute 30 routine. I really think they wanted to test our memory, how much we could take in, how fast. And a lot of people were struggling around me. And so, being a dance teacher, I started helping people out and things like that. And I think I was the 19th group to audition. And there was 5 or 6 of us in a group, and it was a crazy, crazy day. But where the story gets even crazier is after that audition, the director came up to me and he said, I love you, you're different. I see that you act and that you sing. I'd really love for you to audition for a part. And obviously I was over the moon. My whole life I knew this is what I wanted to do, but didn't really know how it was gonna happen for me living in Utah. And so I was very excited, and then 2 weeks went by and I got nothing. I heard nothing. I thought, that was really mean. Why did he say that to me? And I was taking those students on a cruise for the summer, not the full summer obviously, but a short cruise to perform and get them some experience. And I was the chaperone. And as I was walking up on the boat, on the cruise ship, I got a call from my mom, and mom said, don't get on the boat. I was like, what? And she said, you've got to call back tomorrow. I'm like, Mom, I'm in California. I'm getting on this cruise ship. And so luckily, very, very luckily, she called back the casting director. And the casting director called that director and told him the situation. And he said, you know what? I really, really want to see her. I'll wait for her. Which is crazy in the industry. That never, ever happens. So I really was blessed as far as the audition process for High School Musical goes. I definitely had someone watching out for me. Filming the High School Musical movies was a wild, wild roller coaster ride. A lot of times people think that, being an actress or filming is so glamorous and it's an easy life, but it's not. A lot of times it's 16-hour days and your feet are bleeding, and, we would rehearse these numbers for 2 to 3 months and drill them into our heads. So by the time you're on set, there's no room for error. And, time is money on a movie set. So it is actually very intense, and it's very tedious work. You're shooting the same thing over and over and over and over. For example, when we shot the prom musical scene, A Night to Remember, in the third film, that was at least 3 days, full days of shooting. And it was definitely worth the payoff, but that was not easy. Let's just say there was a lot of blisters and a lot of bloody feet. You take off your shoes in between takes and hobble around, and then action, you're back on. So being on a film set it's not easy work. It's intense work. You kind of have to mind your P's and Q's and stay out of the way and realize that if you knock something over, it could be worth millions of dollars. So it is a great industry. It is the industry for me, but it is kind of an intense one. I've always been very, very passionate about confidence, especially in young girls. And I think it's because it took me a while to find my own. It took me a while to find my own self-worth. I didn't realize it until much later in life. So I'm a big advocate of getting out there with young girls and showing them, look, this is your best feature. Look at what you offer. And especially with the spiritual side, you're a daughter of Heavenly Father. And that is what I always try to tell girls, and what I tell myself when I'm, feel that darkness sneaking in of wanting to feel insecure. You're a daughter of Heavenly Father. He is a king. That makes you a princess. And you deserve to treat yourself that way, and you deserve for others to respect and treat you that way. And so, yeah, that's really what I do. I have to remind myself sometimes too. Oh, a typical day in the life of Kaycee Stroh. Well, it just depends. I have 2 dreams, which is really great that I am fulfilling both at the same time. On one hand, I wanted to be a mom and a wife. And so I am a wife, and I have 2 little daughters. One is 3 and one is 8 months old. And they are my world. And my family does come first. So a typical day is getting up at like 7 in the morning. Someday I'll sleep in again. And, nursing the baby, making breakfast, throwing the laundry in, all that still has to happen and still run. And then, oftentimes I have an audition that I'll need to put on tape and send out to LA, or a script reading here. So, when those things happen, I have to, drop the kids off at grandma's house and go make that happen. And it's kind of a juggling act, but yeah, it's great. I really am a normal, typical mom, as well as this whole other glamorous, fun side. So I feel pretty blessed to be able to live my dream and do both. Oh man, if I could give my teenage self one piece of advice, this is what I would tell her. It really doesn't matter. I remember in high school, things seemed so big. It's like, oh, I'm not fitting in with the, with the cheerleader clique. I'm a cheerleader, but I'm not fitting in. Or, I didn't get asked to the dance by the guy I wanted, and things like that. It all was so dramatic and so big. And wanting to fit in was such a big thing. And I'm sure it is, especially now with the teens out there with social media. It's a whole new element that you guys have to deal with, and the bullying and things like that. But really, hang in there. At the end of the day, it does not matter. That jock that was the big deal, sorry, that's my cat. The jock that was such a big deal, yeah, he's going bald, he's human too, it took him years to get married. You never know, you can never predict. All the cliques are broken up, and I talk to almost everyone on social media now, And it just, all those lines are so blurred. And so I wish I would have been able to tell myself, like, it's just high school, just get through it. It's not a big deal. Just hold strong to the things that you know are right and true, and follow the path. And if you do that, everything will work out. And you have to remember, he is bound. If you uphold your end of the deal, he is bound. And that is always very comforting to get through those hard times.